What is going on, guys? Today we've got another ranking of all of the attackers, and it's even better because we have the team of the year. We may not have the 12th man, which is likely to be Neymar, Valverde, Haaland, and I don't know if there's another shout in there, so we may have another striker to add to this next time round in about a month or so, but we've got new Team of the Year icons, which Team 2 is coming soon. We have Team of the Years, we have Centurions added, and then also all of the primes once again. So we have had an 88 plus prime icon SBC. It was prime, mid, or World Cup recently, and it has changed a bit of the pricing. But in terms of the cards we've got in front of us, there is some absolute bangers, and there's also some nice SBCs. Bale coming in relatively cheap. I think, again, super subs still count as top-end players. But the number one in this spot is going to be our man Hullet. He's coming in at a whopping 7.2 million, and honestly, if you've not given him a go in draft, managed to get a loan of him, or, dare I say it, managed to get the card, this card is absolutely ridiculous. Very much like the Team of the Years, if we get all three of them in. Are you tired of using players like this? I would much rather have teams more like this. Then I recommend going over to skycoach.gg for all of your coaching and coins needs. They are cheap, fast, and reliable, but at the checkout, make sure you are using code JT11 for a discount on your orders. Back to the video. They are absolutely next level. Benzema, different sort of striker, most definitely more hold up, but still has the pace to go through. And honestly, if you look at his stats and think they're okay, which most definitely I feel like you'd have a little bit more of an appreciation for the Ballon d'Or winner. In game, he is sensational. Not saying that he's going to beat a team of the year Mbappe, but most definitely is definitely worth a big shout if you are looking for any sort of team of the year attacker. Messi and Mbappe, as we kind of expected, they're both absolutely nuts. Mbappe's coming in as the most expensive card in the game currently until we get the full team out. He's currently coming in at 9.2 million coins, which is just crazy amounts of money. He has actually topped R9 at the moment. R9 has dropped to 7.5 million, which we kind of imagine. Mbappe's an absolute joke, and Messi's close control dribbling is just nuts. 99 on the dribble, 98 on the shooting. Again, wonderful. Coming in just shy of 5 million coins. I can imagine we might see a 99 in footies or team of the season because we haven't had any 99s in this team of the year, which is shocking to see, but most definitely a very, very great attacking force. If Haaland does manage to get team of the year, then most definitely he will be joining the counterparts in that S tier and most definitely will be amongst the greats. Now going on to another new card, team of the year icon Beckham. If you've not given him a go into draft and try him right now, because most definitely this card has had a wonderful upgrade. Literally about a week, maybe a few days since we released the which version is best of all icons, we managed to get these, and honestly, some of the cards just like, we look at Nesta, we look at Baresi, we look at sometimes Beckham, to be honest, as well as then Vieri, we then have somebody like a Closer. They need a revamp, not necessarily to make them totally unrealistic, but to just put some relevancy back into them. And I think Pires was one of them, Vidic was the other, and Beckham is definitely the third. They are sensational now. They've had a big upgrade on pace. Sometimes they've had a 4-star, 5-star added, or a 4-4. They've just added so much more relevancy to these cards that are necessarily just fodder icons now. They may have some price as their prime, but most definitely once we get loads of prime icon SBCs out the way, they are going to be flat rate. Whereas Beckham in this version is outstanding. I think the card is coming in at 2.9 mil. Obviously still very fresh and very hard to pack. I can imagine we will get a prime / team of the year icon SBC at some point, maybe during or after team of the year. But this card is an absolute joke. Then we will list off a few of the players that we know already are S tier. El Warren still coming in fantastic. And again with heroes, I would like to see a bigger upgrade for them. Most definitely some of them are coming in at top tiers. But most definitely as well, they could do with a captain's promo. What was the other one? Shapeshifter. They definitely are at that sort of level now where I think they need an upgrade. We're starting to get some really sensational normal cards. Winter Wildcard Traore, Dembele, obviously Felix has got an upgrade now. It'd be nice to see a big upgrade, and especially on somebody like a Di Natale. The ones that didn't get any World Cup versions would be nice now to step up to get their next set, and I feel like they will do. I actually really do like the World Cup icons slash heroes, the Team of the Year icons, and hopefully the alternate icons as well, alternative icons really come in trumps as well, because it adds a bit of difference. It adds that little bit of flair that I think they are definitely needed. With the icons, it's a standard. You get the base, the mid, the prime. Now they've taken away moments. It would be nice to see another upgrade, something to replace them, which is obviously what they're trying to do, and I think most definitely it is working to revamp them. We have got a Ginola obviously coming in as the S. We then look at Traore. In terms of Traore, he isn't necessarily a starter in my opinion. I personally use him as a super sub, and by God, does he do the work. He's got the pace, he's got the physicality, a good amount of dribbling. He isn't necessarily that player that is going to win you the game from the get-go. But as a super sub, the pace is just too much for a 75th, a 60th minute, maybe even in the 80 in the dying minutes. You need one more goal, you maybe need to come back from a loss, or obviously to win the match from a draw. He will add that injection of pace that really, really works well. And I think for me, he's got to be in that AS purely on a super sub basis. And I think there's some more in here that most definitely come in at that sort of value of a super sub rather than the starter. Correa would be another one for me. He's not going to take out an Mbappe, he's not going to take out an Alwaran, a Ginola, a Di Natale, but what he could offer you as a super sub is most definitely incredible as well. Has multiple variations to the card in terms of he can be a right wing, can be striker. You could even whack him at a cam if it is very attacking orientated. But in general, he does do the work and very, very well. Ben Yedder in Foot Centurions, again another cracking card. Unfortunately, because of this Centurions, missed out on his new inform. We should have got another Ben Yedder. I think he got a hat-trick in so many minutes and assists as well. But unfortunately, he already had a Centurions out, so they decided just to skip him, which I do get and I don't get, because non-performance-based cards shouldn't affect performance-based cards. It doesn't matter if the card is technically going to be lower, but most definitely if he scored a hat-trick in, say, 10 minutes, I don't know how quick it was, but he should definitely get an inform if he is due it. That's where a performance and a non-performance shouldn't really kind of matter between each other. But again, that's another thing that is kind of an outdated thing with obviously the informs. We then got a Bale. I think yesterday I want to say we got Bale. He's currently coming in at 110k. As a super sub, this guy is fantastic. He has got a 91 that is still available on the market, but most definitely this version of him, the fact that you don't have to technically buy him, we have so many upgrades coming, and we've got until the 20th of February, so plenty of time. As soon as we get into obviously the upgrade side of Team of the Year with the whole team being out, this card is going to be everywhere. His 91 rated is coming in at 65,000 coins on the market. This guy can be right wing, left back, left wing back, and right mid. So there is a different variation. I don't know anybody putting him at left back, but most definitely will do the job in your right wing slot. And an interesting one with Kent. We had a Ryan Kent come in with the Tavernier SBC. Obviously, it was a dynamic duo for a right back Centurion and obviously Kent as a left wing. And I think he's okay, but most definitely I was expecting a little bit better from him, just purely for the fact the hype around a Kent we needed way higher than 85. Just because he started off at such a low basis, we've now got a 96 pace Kent with 80 shooting, 80 passing, 83 dribbling. Unfortunately, that isn't going to cut it. Even though, yes, the nostalgic vibe of Kent is still very nice, he's just not going to do it in game. We've got so many cards like this, a Dan James, a Traore before this big upgrade. There's only so much he can do, and I think he is escaping kind of bottom tier, but most definitely will be not as relevant as some of these players we've got on here. If we look through a few of the icons, you've obviously got your Cantona, who's going to be hidden. We will move that around soon, but in general, Cantona is just incredible as well, as we know. We couldn't put Cruyff behind there because that just isn't happening, so we have got Cruyff in the shot. Cantona's gone behind, but in general, Cruyff, you don't argue with a Cruyff. He is just naturally always S. And then we look at Dembele, another fantastic one with his 5-star. He is going nowhere but S. And in general, looking at a few of these icons now, we're looking still at a few of the top ones, Eusebio and Eto'o being number 1, Drogba being AS. Mainly, if we had that lengthy, Drogba would be next level, going straight into S. But now it's kind of a little bit less. Still got the vibe of an absolute killer instinct striker, but most definitely not on the same level as Cruyff. And then we look at a few more. We've got Garrincha and Best. I think both of them still very, very heavy on that S category. Both of them are absolutely next level, and eventually we will get to the next Brazilian counterpart. Obviously with Garrincha, with Jairzinho, he had a mid SBC, which honestly, I have never seen so many right-wing Brazilian icons in people's teams. It is just crazy. Henry, hopefully, I don't believe it's leaked, but could we see a Team of the Year Henry? That would be just the upgrade of all upgrades. As a striker goes, I feel like in terms of being on the top level, that would just take him to an R9 level, an Eto'o, a Cruyff, a Eusebio level that everybody wants him. Whether that happens, I know Ronaldinho is apparently the next big one to go with, but he would be a sensational one if he did manage it. Same with Haaland. I think in general, this Team of the Year, if he does manage to win that vote, it will revitalise him. I believe he's probably due an inform this week with obviously the hat-trick he scored against Wolves. Whether they count that as too little or too much for Haaland in general. He's got a 90 rated now, and obviously taking the World Cup off due to the fact Norway are not in it, he definitely needs to get back onto his informed form rather than necessarily his form, because obviously he's hit the ground running. Already beating the top goal scorer of the past 3 years in 19 games. Scary. Absolutely scary. But we should be seeing upgrades of him very, very soon. If we did manage to not get a Team of the Year, a FUT birthday would definitely be suffice for me. And then we go into another striker very similar, but Ibra is back with a FUT Centurion. And again, absolutely nuts. There was obviously a big controversy around Ibra and a few of the Centurions where they decided to take away stuff. Whether this is something we know about or don't know about, I believe it is damn right rude to try and take away stats on a card once he's been out for more than a week's time. It's not as if they've released him and an hour later they're like, oh, you know what, we put 90 balance on. Hold our hands up, that wasn't meant to be the case. People have went out and bought this card for millions of coins, and then they've taken some stats away, which leads to him now, I believe he did drop a hell of a lot. So he was currently, I think he was about 2 to 3 mil to start with. He's coming in at 2.7 still. But when we first got him, he was 4.3 extinct. He then dropped down in 2 days to 3 mil. But then we had him at 2.9. And literally, as soon as we knew about this on the 17th of January, he dropped down 500,000 coins. He then has slowly risen a little bit as we go forward. It looks like he's coming in at just about 2.7. But the fact that if someone bought him at 3 mil, then obviously the stats got taken away. And then they've lost 4 to 500,000 coins like that. For me, that's just not on. I just think that is manipulating far too much, and you've got to keep cards at what you've released them, unless you are instant to get it out. Because even if someone bought him at 4 mil, thinking, you know what, he's going to be extinct for a while, he might go up, that is a risk to play, but most definitely you don't take away stats. It just is what it is. Aubameyang now could do with an upgrade. Chelsea not necessarily on the greatest form in terms of getting these kind of performance-based cards, but I definitely think Aubameyang would kind of benefit now from a bigger upgrade. He's kind of just lost his flair a little bit compared to a lot of these cards now that are getting massive upgrades. Griezmann, a surprising one, to be honest. He genuinely comes in and absolutely destroys stuff. You go with a Hunter, you've got yourself 90-something pace, 90-something shooting, as well as dribbling, and a good amount of passing. Very top end in that attack. Jairzinho, as we said, is coming in of a next level as well. Lewandowski, for me, he needs a Team of the Year or Team of the Season to really get him going. The pace is just not enough. We need a massive upgrade on the card. And even then, I feel like there's players out there, like a Haaland, like an Ibra, that unfortunately will always trump the big man sort of style. The Drogba style, the Haaland style. Whereas Lawan has got the shooting to compete with them. He just doesn't have that pace. And I think for me now, he's got to go in that B category just purely on the fact that he just isn't as relevant as the big man striker we've got in front of us. And then we move into the start of the list. Abide Pele, very much like a Di Natale and Ginola, could definitely do with a big upgrade now. I think once we saw his shapeshifter last year go into Bundesliga and obviously as a 98 left wing, it was a very, very refreshing card. And obviously going up 11 ratings, you kind of expect that, to be honest. You expect, well, not 11 ratings, that's a little bit too much. Maths wasn't my strong point, but you know what I mean. Abide Pele could do with that upgrade. Still a very nice card to go with, but you very rarely see him. Dalglish, still better than ever. It's going to hide just underneath me, and obviously at the end, we will reveal the whole list all in one so you can see it, and we will obviously zoom down as well. Bergkamp, another one that could really do with a team of the year. I don't know if there's actually any leaks with him. I haven't seen him anywhere as of yet, but most definitely could do with that big upgrade in a team of the year form. Crespo, again, very similar, had a World Cup version, which I think is still very good, but most definitely in terms of the top, is not going to be ranking too highly. Whereas I think Harry Kewell most definitely will do. Still got a very good form on him. Could do with some upgrades as well. Like we're seeing with a lot of these kind of heroes now. We've had them, they've only been about 2 months old, and yet they are now getting into the point where they need a refresh. And I think that's where icons and heroes would do very well with like a free month, well no, not even free month, like a free promo refresh. So they maybe do a hero 1 month, then obviously they have another month where it's just normal promos, then they have another one, so icons, and they just keep going back and forth. Personally, from a content creation sort of view, that will suit with me absolutely brilliantly. And what is brilliantly is Morientes. I don't know what it is with this card, but his pace is average, shooting's very good, the dribbling, again, very average, and yet this card always scores from me. I don't understand how he is so deadly, getting through, getting in goal, scoring, and just making my life a living hell with it. But he is absolutely phenomenal in game, and naturally is worth every penny that you can spend on him. And I really don't think he's coming in at that much, to be honest. He is coming in now at a whopping, drum roll, oh, expired SBC. So nobody else can get him, thank the Lord. But he was 172,000, and I think in general for efficiency, if you did Robbie Keane but not Morientes, I'm not going to say what you are, but Morientes is a joke. Saying another joke, Neymar, obviously. He is, again, just too good. Far too good. It will be nice to see maybe a team of the season from him later on in the year. I'm kind of hoping he wins a vote for team of the year rather than team of the season, but I feel like a lot of people will go with Haaland rather than Neymar, in my personal opinion. Neymar would be the number one for me to go with. We have waited so long for a team of the year Neymar, and I think this is probably the final straw. If he does manage to kind of upgrade his career that little bit more and really put out an output that just can't be ignored, then yes, I completely agree. But at this current form in the past 5 years where we've not had one, we really could do with one now. We've leveled up and zoomed out a little bit. So, okay, we've got everybody back on screen. Cantona can be seen, and we can see the bottom row again. Mahrez, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Do I think he's S tier? You're damn right I think he's S tier. He is a beautiful right wing. We've got him in the main team, and honestly, he's been absolutely wonderful. Same as Messi. Obviously, not necessarily on the same vibe of his 98, but in terms of cost, the nostalgic, what he gives you in game, he is wonderful on that left stick dribbling and an absolute danger to go forward with. If we look at then Gerd Muller, I think the same. Again, a very nice striker, brand new to the game and offering plenty of options up front. The one that really could do with the upgrade is got to be Nunez. He has been on form a little bit and not so form as well. He's one of them that I think is taking a little bit of time to kind of get himself back in. I'm not saying Liverpool are off form, but most definitely they're not at the peak of what we saw last year or the year before. So it is going to be an interesting run to see how he kind of goes forward. But if we do manage to find a FUT birthday and out of performance-based Nunez, he is an absolute gem up front and hopefully comes in a little bit cheaper. He is just very nice going forward. He's very much like Haaland's sort of card in terms of the bigger striker, but most definitely still has an incredible amount of pace. One of my favourite SBCs from this year as well has got to be Dimitri. He is a joke up front. For how much he costs, I really don't think he costs much, But in general, whatever I paid for him, which is 83,000 coins, according to this market, it might have been a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on, obviously, where you're looking at the fodder point. He is an absolute joke up front. He may not last the whole year, but most definitely for what I've got from him from Winter Wildcard to now has been nothing but amazing. He plays a striker with Mbappe, and he still scores with him. That is always a sign of a good player, because Mbappe normally trumps everybody, just for the fact that he is still an 800k card, but Payet keeps up the job. Pele, again, another absolutely incredible player. He is leaked to potentially be a Team of the Year as well, which most definitely would be an absolute nuts card of the first 99 this year. That would be a massive, massive card to pull. And obviously Puskás next to him, again, absolutely outstanding. If we then fill in a few of the blanks, Di Maria was a very nice SBC. I do like him personally as a super sub, just purely for the fact that we don't have many Serie A. I think the only person I've got from Serie A in my squad is going to be Theo Hernandez, obviously at left back, and he is French to link with everybody else. Politano, another cracking SBC that came out with more traits than I'd like to imagine, but an absolute gem to go forward with. We then have a Quagliarella. Centurions coming in relatively cheap. Again, nostalgic if you've played this game for a while, but most definitely still a dangerous striker. It's just not necessarily going to be on the same level of a lot of these players. If then we look at Rashi, got to be in that A. I think we most definitely need another upgrade from him. Kind of post 90 rated would be nice, but we will get that in the near future. Right, let's quick fire some of these icons in. Butra is definitely going up to the S. Again, would love an upgrade. I think that would be solidifying himself into that S. We have Del P. He is definitely going in that AS. Figo's a hard one because I do like a Figo, but I just don't think he's AS quality. I do think A, and if he did manage to get an upgrade on an alternative icon, say, I think then definitely AS to S depending on the upgrade. Raul, not my favourite striker. Owen gives you a little bit. Rivaldo, I'd say AS. Ronaldinho, S all day long. R9, all day long. Rooney, A, S. And then Hugo Sanchez. Hugo Sanchez is another Team of the Year icon SBC, the first ever Team of the Year icon SBC, that is, and most definitely looks a relatively nice upgrade, to be honest. We haven't had an amazing upgrade from, obviously, the stat point of view, but it's what's made him relevant is the 4-star, 4-star. Going from the 3-star skills to the 4 is a big, big kind of hit. That is sometimes what makes cards relevant and not, purely from the fact of what the... almost like what the skill gives you. The extra skill star, the skill star move, the move star skill, gives you in terms of just going up that 1 is a very, very big jump. Maybe from the 4 to the 5, you do see a lot of more kind of smooth movement from players. You see it with a St. Max and a Neymar compared to a Traore. There is a lot of easier angles that you can go with, and even with 99 agility balance, if you've not got that 4-star skills or even 5, you do still feel somewhat blocky. Not all the time, but most definitely still a little bit blocky. I think with the price of him though, 670 is definitely on a very high budget, saying that whilst we do have obviously the Team of the Year upgrades coming, so it could be very easy to do, depending on obviously how many Team of the Year honourables there is and special cards of the higher variety, as you have got an 88 rated SBC as the highest to actually complete for this card. We then have 2 more obviously heroes that could do with an upgrade. We have Smolarek and Okocha, who are both going into AS. I think in terms of Salah, he's getting there. But personally, it's my opinion with Salah. I've never been a massive fan prior to Team of the Season. Team of the Season is next level when he's normally 96 to 98. He is a joke. But beforehand, he's good, but he's not necessarily my prime focus in terms of a player. Rafael Leao definitely got a nice upgrade with his phenoms. Lacazette, I'd say the same personally. Felix, little bit underwhelming personally. I like him, but I did prefer his Adidas promo last year that really kind of upped his rating. This year I feel like he's doing well, but he's not quite at that next level for me. And obviously we haven't seen a Chelsea version yet because unfortunately got a red card at the start of the game, so we can't unfortunately see him for a long time now. I think it's 30 days that he's going to be playing next, so it is going to be all based on an outer performance base if we was to get another one in the near future. We then have Jesus, again, not a bad player, but I would put him at the same sort of category as we see with the stats. Both very similar. They're nice, but they're not quite at the level of Garrincha, Jarzinho, or Best. We then have a St. Max. He's definitely got to go in there for the skills. There's no arguing there with him. He is, again, another top-end player. Very much like a... wait for it. Ribery, obviously. If you're going to see that group, you're going to go with Ribery. Ribery is just a next level again. I'd prefer his end of era, but you know what? We're going S tier with him. Obviously the 5-5. I feel like he's just that little bit above everybody. And once we get another upgrade from him, again, we're going to be looking at an outstanding player that you can go French, Serie A, links with Mafia, which is always nice, but in general has that ability anywhere on the pitch going forward. We then have a CR7. Unfortunately, I need more from him now. Unfortunately, I'm going to say that one more time. Unfortunately, I just don't see it happening now. End of era's got to be in the Saudi League. The only thing that will kind of rectify this is the team of the season. Once we get that Talisca potential, we get any other of the very, very incredible Saudi players we got from the World Cup in a big upgraded team of the season version, maybe he has some play. But I do think this could be the end of CR7, unless they can make, like they did with his flashback, a Portuguese-only World Cup sort of version where he doesn't need leagues. I just think he's probably done now. And that is a shame to think, because most definitely the rating for the start of next year will kind of reflect it. I do see EA, especially for the next 2 years, if he does manage to get a hat-trick, 4 goals, whatever, they will push his inform, because they'll definitely want to get him back up to be able to give him a rule breaker 90, a foot birthday 95, because he still will do packs. With the new chemistry style, Portuguese players will obviously give him the links. With Leao doing very well, Felix going to Chelsea for the links, there should be plenty of players to be able to get him them links without having to necessarily use, obviously, Saudi players. But in general, it's an interesting one to see where this goes personally. If then we look at a few others, we have got Alphonso Davies, Mane, Richarlison, Son. Again, all of them nice, but most definitely a little bit gone as of late. We definitely need the next set of upgrades for them. And as we go through the rest of them then, Vinny is always going in that S tier, obviously. He is just a next level card, and I'm pretty sure he's 89. I want to say he got to 90. We have not upgraded the card. Sack the editor, which is me. So we'll move on. But 90 rated left wing. In general, a fantastic card. Unfortunately, didn't manage to get all the way through to get the final upgrades, but most definitely this is a start for Vinny, and team of the season goes, this card is going to be next level. If we do manage to get a foot birthday 5-5, again, could be a cracking card. And then we go to the icons. We have a beautiful Stoichkov that is definitely going AS. I think Torres is probably there as well. I would probably give Zola... what is Zola? Zola's 86, because it's Del P that I do like the most. Zola's coming in as a nice second, but definitely Zola is going in under Del P. I think Del P just has that little bit more, but I think in terms of bases, both of them are the better versions. Valer, I know we don't like scrolling, but he's just going to sneak himself up into that S. Terrier, definitely an A for the SBC efficiency. Van Persie, I like him, but he could do with an upgrade. I feel like he's a good card, but could do with that team of the year or some sort of alternative to be able to just get that little bit extra of an upgrade, because I cannot stand that being the final version of him. He's got to have a moment or something to raise him up just that little bit more, and we definitely are looking in that AS to potentially S depending on the upgrade. Richarlison, I feel like goes in that A. Davies, in terms of a forward now, I'd probably say is less relevant personally. He's a very good left back still, which definitely still kind of is a main focus in. But in terms of a forward, he's coming in a less. And same with Mane. I think he's definitely going into that A, but most definitely could do with that big upgrade. And that's going to be the list for today. Honestly, some absolutely cracking players. We'll see if we can zoom out that little bit more to get everybody in. We will zoom in on them as well, just to show you every single person that little bit closer, so don't squint yourself too much. But that is everybody in the list so far. The S tier is definitely growing, which is always nice to see. The AS, again, some very affordable strikers that will still give you a very good result if you can't necessarily go and jump into that S with obviously coin balance. The B cards more than likely will be deleted at the end of this and will rotate through, as well as the A's. Hopefully we get some big upgrades on them in the next month or so. But in terms of going really close in so you can see everybody, if we go, well, we could do that. This is going to be the list. Let me know down below if you agree with all of these. Make sure you do like and subscribe on this. If you want to see more, then obviously hit that notification button as well. And that's going to be the list for today. Let me know what you think, and I catch you all for the next one. Peace.